Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can e-file Form 1099 NEC online yourself quickly and easily. In another video, I'll show you how you can do this at the IRS website, but honestly, I way prefer this method. It's what I use. It only costs a few dollars for a bunch of forms, and I'll be explaining more about why I love it in this video. If you're new here, my name's Amanda. You're watching The Business Finance Coach, and I'd like to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Tax 1099, which is a company that I've been using to e-file 1099s and other forms like payroll tax forms for years. And I teach people how to use this software in my courses and on YouTube, so I'm very happy to have them sponsor today's video. First, I'm going to go through all the common questions I get about these 1099s, and then I'll be diving into the quick tutorial. You can skip ahead if you just want to see the tutorial at about 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Okay, so the first thing we want to talk about is Form 1099 miscellaneous versus this 1099 NEC, just to clarify what happened here. You may recall in the past, Form 1099 miscellaneous is what you filed when you paid contractors money. And box 7 was for non-employee compensation. Basically, because so many people are required to file this form, the IRS turned that one box into its own form, Form 1099 NEC, which stands for non-employee compensation. So when do you need to file Form 1099 NEC? There have been a lot of rule changes around some of the informational forms. However, the requirement for 1099 NEC in 2024, it's looking like 2025 and beyond, is if your business pays someone for work and you don't withhold taxes, they're not an employee, then you're paying them as a contractor. And if you pay them more than $600 during the year, you're required to file a 1099 NEC for them, which reports to them the total amount you paid them. And of course, you're filing a copy letting the IRS know as well. Now, like all things taxes, there is 1 million rules that apply, but I'm going to focus on what affects most people. Now, there are some exceptions to having to file this form that are very uncommon, except for one, which is if the person that you're paying if their business is set up as a C Corp or S Corp with the IRS, if they're taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp, then you do not need to file a 1099 for them. Now, how do you know if they're a C Corp or an S Corp? Well, this goes back to what you should do before you pay a contractor any money, so that you have the information you need for when we go to file this Form 1099 NEC at the end of the year. Before you pay a contractor any money, you want to have them fill out a W-9 form. This is called a request for taxpayer identification and certification. You do not file this form with the IRS. It's your backup that you have the information you need that your contractor provided you with that you're going to put on the Form 1099 NEC. And so this is your proof that you got it from them and you're reporting it on the 1099. And if that W-9 says that they are taxed as a C Corp or S Corp, then you generally do not need to do a 1099 for them. So when is this form due? This form is due by the end of January 31st of the year following the year it's for. You're going to file a copy to the person you paid and to the IRS. Now, when it comes to e-file versus paper filing, you definitely want to e-file 1099 NEC and not paper file it. For most people, it's actually required that you e-file. If you have more than 10 informational forms for the year that you're filing, then you're required to e-file. Informational forms include 1099 NECs, 1099 miscellaneouses, W-2s. However, even if you have less than 10 informational forms, you probably still want to e-file because paper filing requires you to order special forms through the IRS that you have to use to paper file. What happens if you don't file the 1099 NEC? I get asked this question all the time. So there are two issues with not filing this form. The first one is you get a penalty per form that you didn't file based on how late it is. You can see this with the IRS, right? So up to 30 days late, it's a $60 penalty. Then that gets bumped up to $130, $330, and intentional disregard means you're just like not filing it, $660. Plus, there's another level of negative implication. The amount that you paid the contractor is something that you're deducting as a business expense or a tax write-off. And if you don't file them this form, that amount can be disallowed, which means that you'd actually owe taxes on that amount that you had previously deducted. And because the IRS is slow, it takes some time to get around to auditing you. There'll be interest and penalties that add up from past years. Okay, so now that we've gotten all these technicalities out of the way, let's jump in and I'll show you how to file this form really easy. Okay, so if you click my link down in the description below, it'll bring you to a page that looks like this, ZenWork Tax 1099, and you'll be able to sign up. To sign up, you're simply going to enter your email, a password, and get started. And it's free to get started. You only pay when you file the form. Okay, so when you log in here, you're going to be on the dashboard, and we're going to go over on the left-hand menu and click Forms. From here, we're going to click New Form. And you can see this is all our forms for 2024. If you need to do a past year, select the year and then the form. For 2024, we're going to do a 1099 NEC, so we'll click the first option. Now, this is basically the form 1099 NEC, and we're going to do a single filing manually. I know a lot of my small businesses have a few of these forms to fill out. If you have a ton of forms, they do have a bulk import option where you can use CSV or Excel files and input your data all at once. Let me know if that's something you want to know more about. In this video, because there's very little reported on this form, it really doesn't take much time to go through and do a handful of these forms. So we'll click back over to single filing. Now, the way this works is we have our payer information here. The payer is you that paid the contractor. Then recipient's name and information. This is your contractor who filled out the W-9 for you, and their information from the W-9 is going to go here. You're going to put the total amount you paid them right here, and then that amount is automatically going to populate under the state information. You'll see this little section here about direct sales. That's kind of a whole other area. If you have questions about that, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you buy products and resell them, that is what that's talking about, and it's a different requirement than the contractor requirement that we're talking about in this video. If you withheld income tax for the recipient, you would put that amount here, but that's very uncommon. Okay, so how we do this, you're going to go ahead and click Add a Payer here and put in your information. And so you only have to do this once, and then you'll be able to select yourself each time. So if I click this drop-down menu, I am going to select Biz LLC, my example here. And then down here, same thing, add recipient, and we have Joe Show Schmo. And so his information automatically comes in as well, and you can add another recipient the same way. All we got to do is pop in the total amount we paid them during the year, let's say $10,000, and that's it. We're now going to click Save and Continue, or you could click Save and add a new 1099 NEC. Once you've finished entering all of your 1099 NEC forms, you'll click Save and Continue, and you'll come to this screen. And all the 1099 NECs that you've entered will be listed here. Now we're going to need to select them, and you can see the button at the bottom, submit them to the IRS for e-file. But we have some other options that I want to run through with you. So first of all, you can select individual forms by clicking the button on the left, or you can select everything by clicking the button on the top of the column. Then if you see over here on the right, these two columns, USPS mail and e-delivery. The first option will literally mail the recipient a copy. The second option will send it through email. And you can see that the box is grayed out for the email because if you look to the left there, no email address. So we didn't enter an email address for this recipient. The next option is a TIN match, which allows you to check that the taxpayer identification number matches their individual or business name. Most people are not going to use this. And then the last option is state filing. So you can check the box to have the software also handle the state filing. And remember, you can refer to that Tax 1099 resource that I'll link in the description for your state rules. So now we can select the form. I only have the one here, and then we're going to submit for this payer. This is giving me a warning that, it can't submit either way because I didn't select USPS mail and I only selected e-delivery, so it's not going to be delivered to them, which is fine. You can send it to them yourself. Granted, this is just an example. Now, I'm not going to click OK because I don't actually want to submit this. This is a fake form, but you'll submit it and it will be e-filed with the IRS. So after you submit your forms, you'll come down here to Manage Forms. You'll need to select yourself in the tax year. Under Status, you should see Accepted, and that means that the e-file was accepted. If you decide to sign up for Tax 1099, I do have a link you can use, which will give me credit for this video and support my channel. So I really appreciate it if you use that, if you like this video. If I click the pricing tab over here, we can scroll down and see what it costs for us to file a few 1099 NECs. Okay, you can see their tiered pricing chart here. So for 1099s, if we click here, it's $290 each for the first 20 forms, but it's still not that expensive considering you're not locked in or have any sort of reoccurring payment. 21 to 150 forms, the price goes down and down and down. Now, another cool thing that you can do in Tax 1099, remember we said that you should have your contractors fill out the W-9 form so that they know you're going to file this form at the end of the year for them, and you have the information you need, because it can be really hard after the fact, after you're done working with someone, to be like, hey, I need your social security number so that I can file taxes for you. They might not want to provide it if they don't have an ongoing relationship with you. And a cool thing that Tax 1099 does is it allows you for $1 for each request, you can do it electronically through email. So Tax 1099 will do the form for you, and then you'll have the record of it in Tax 1099. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching. I hope you found that really easy and informative. If you have questions, I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. If you're interested in going deeper, we do have a paying workers and owners course that goes over hiring workers as contractors or employees, how to keep track of everything, manual payroll, and a lot more. If you're new here, consider subscribing to be notified of my new videos. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.